everyone, and welcome to this week's Sam versus Lee. I'm Sam, this is Lee, and we are the FPL Family. Last week, our theme...
Yeah?
Can you remember as you picked it?
It was something to do... No, I can't remember.
Okay, so it was the three clubs with the longest...
Oh, records, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, good. That's a good pick. I like that.
Well, not really. We had to choose a player from Liverpool, one from Arsenal, and one from Chelsea.
The teams with the longest unbeaten runs in English league history.
That's right.
Got that? Do you not like that?
No.
Why not?
There was a couple of reasons I didn't like it. One, because it was really difficult when you've only got three teams and you've got to choose one and you've got to kind of slot it in. It's a bit of a challenge, yeah. But also, it didn't go very well for me, as we're going to find out.
I think for next week, guys, get in the comments below. Let us know what you think the theme should be. We have this every week. I come up with something, you think it's guff. You come up with something, I think it's rubbish. Guys, get in the comments. Let us know what you think the theme should be for next week, and we will use the best one. We need some creative ideas, so get in the comments. Let us know.
Okay. Right, so that was our theme for last week. So... I mean, there's not really much point. I might as well just give you the point now, to be quite honest. Because
I think I did all right.
The week started... We'll go with mine first. The week started particularly badly when it came out that Kolasinac was not going to play this week. So, obviously, I'm then down to two players. Mane was my midfielder of choice.
Yeah.
Obviously, didn't do anything, so got 3 points. And then Tammy Abraham... went to Newcastle and did nothing, got 2 points, so I got 5, which was
good picks.
Quite frankly disgraceful. Bit like Game Week 23, really.
It was a box of frogs Game Week 23, wasn't it?
On the other hand,
absolutely
Lee did his normal jamminess and picked Reece James, who went off before the clean sheet went and got 8. Otherwise would have got 2.
Get in there.
Annoying.
Always like Reece James.
You had Salah, who got you 7.
Get in there. Oh, this is a comprehensive victory.
Yeah, well, you smashed me. And then Lacazette, who got 2, so you got 17.
Okay. We'll take it.
We were 4.5, 2.5, so now 4.5, 3.5. So now we're 4.5, 3.5 overall.
Nice, okay. Only 1 point in it.
That's a long way to go, yeah. Okay, so this week, obviously, building up to Game Week 24, where we've all kind of been... focusing our efforts and our energies over the course of, since Christmas really, I think, building up to
We've known this double's coming for a while, yeah.
Yeah, since the announcement that it was going to be in 24, it's kind of been building up to this point. So we kind of felt it was the right thing to do to have a theme that reflected that, really. But obviously, we didn't just want to go, who gets Salah, who gets Mane? It feels a bit ridiculous. So we decided that we would do a double game week picks, but they have to be differential and therefore under 10% owned.
This is for all you guys that are in your mini leagues and you are chasing.
Yeah.
Chasing like bad. And if you can just have a little bit of luck with one of these differentials over the double game week, you'll just go flying up the ranks.
And also these differentials tend to also be cheaper in price. So if you're struggling with your budget and you can't afford to have double Salah and Mane, you can't afford...
Quarter of your budget, isn't it? Those two guys.
You can't afford to bring in Firmino, or you can't afford the double at the back with... or the treble even, with Van Dijk and Robertson and Trent, then these are the potential players that you have. So you have to have at least one player from each side. So you can't just pick 3 Liverpool differentials.
Okay.
You have to have...
It's got to be a West Ham in there somewhere.
At least one West Hammer in there somewhere.
If you do that, that makes it really difficult to have what we usually do, which is defend the midfielder forward. I just think 3 differentials.
Yeah.
Liverpool or West Ham, at least one from each side.
Because actually there isn't 2 forwards that we can have for differentials, because Firmino is over 10% owned and West Ham only have Haller.
We'd be fighting over
so we'd basically be fighting over him, or one of us would have to go for Origi, who may or not even play. So for the sake of kind of using and talking about differentials in a useful way, this week we're going to forget the midfielder defender situation, and we're just going to go with 3 differential picks from West Ham and Liverpool that we think could potentially either enable your team and do well for you that way.
So who's your first one?
Right, okay, so I am going to go with the assist extraordinaire that is Alisson for Liverpool.
What a nice assist that was for Salah.
Absolutely. So,
did you see him bomb it the length of the pitch as well as celebrate? What a guy!
Absolutely.
What a guy!
So 7 clean sheets on the bounce now for Liverpool, and although in terms of budget he's going to cost you pretty much the same as The likes, well, actually not quite really, because he's 6.1, so he's that little bit cheaper than, well, quite a lot cheaper than Trent and Robbo, but a little bit cheaper than Van Dijk.
Yeah.
So he does offer a little bit more in the way of value, and if you're looking for keeper changes, then maybe this is a good way of going about it.
With all the talk of potential rotation, though, I don't think we're going to see too much of it between Trent and Robbo, given that there's 6 days between the 2 Liverpool games.
Yeah.
All right, there's an FA Cup game in the middle, but we're expecting a bit of rotation against Shrewsbury Town. I think Liverpool got go to.
And I would expect Adrian to play in that FA Cup game potentially.
Probably. But nevertheless, there is still that tinge of maybe Trent gets rested, or maybe just Robbo gets rested. Alisson ain't getting rested.
No, and
Wolves and West Ham, he plays.
I think that's right, and I think, in terms of somebody that's in that Liverpool back line that's guaranteed, as far as we can be sure, to play both of the double.
He will, yeah, absolutely.
And then you should be, with the fixtures that they have, you should be looking at a couple of clean sheets and save points, maybe even an assist, as we saw in game week 23. So I'm going to start with Alisson as my differential. Go on. Who would you like?
I'm going to support that, because I'm going to go Joe Gomez. So for those of you that can't afford the Trent and the Robbos, or maybe you're putting all your money in Salah and Mane in the middle, and you need a cheaper version at the back, then look at Joe Gomez. 5.2 million in the game, 3.7% owned by, so very much a differential. The one thing you're not going to get, probably maybe even less so than Alisson, is creativity and threat. I had a look on the FPL app just before we were coming on, and Gomez's threat is 0. Actually 0. So he has actually no threat whatsoever on the goal. However,
but can keep a clean sheet.
However, for 5.2 million, he's now got 7 clean sheets back to back. Now, Joel Matip was on the bench for the Manchester United game, so Matip is coming back to fitness. Gomez has done absolutely nothing wrong in the 7-8 weeks that he's been there, partnered by Van Dijk. He's got 8s and 7s and 6s, and he's just bonus points as well. Of course, got the odd yellow card as well, right? And got the odd 5. But that many back-to-back clean sheets, I just think the more Liverpool get closer to the title, the tighter they're going to be at the back, and the less they're going to concede. And the fixtures actually after the double game week look really, really good.
He's keepable.
So he is keepable, I think, after game week 24. Mane and Salah, yes, for 24, if you want to have a bit of fun and go for those 2 guys. But
hard to maintain them, though.
That's hard to keep those 2 over that stretch of sort of 8 or 9 game weeks after that going forward. So if you want to take some money out of those guys and go back to a more balanced midfield, put a little bit of that money at the back in Joe Gomez, because I think he's nailed on in that back line. And like I say, 7 clean sheets in a row. But yeah, just look out for that threat. Don't think he's going to get you many attacking points, but he'll get you a clean sheet.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to stick with Liverpool for now and pick a second Liverpool player in Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Yes, okay.
Now, only owned by 0.4%, so hugely differential. 6.2 million is going to cost you. Now, there is a
bit on the pricey side.
Yeah, potentially, yeah. But let's be frank. A lot of the Liverpool players are on the pricey side because they're Liverpool players. Started the last couple of games on his return from injury. Some kind of concerns about Fabinho coming back, was played 7 minutes against Manchester United at the weekend, so there is an element of rotation risk with him. But he is a creative element in that Liverpool midfield. There's always potential there for an assist.
I think there's more than a threat of rotation. I think the middle 3 for Liverpool, his favoured 3 is Fabinho, Henderson, Wijnaldum when they're all fit. And I do think that Ox might find himself getting rotated. So I think there's actually more than a threat of rotation. I think that the preferred midfield 3 are Henderson, Wijnaldum and Fabinho. Now that Fabinho, you rightly say, Fabinho is back and fit. What's interesting is that when Klopp and Liverpool play the kind of the kind of top 4 candidates, the bigger size, he likes to control the midfield by playing that 3. Notice he played that 3 against Man City, against the teams that potentially we should be going out there and beating a bit more comfortably. He likes to play somebody a bit more going forward. So Oxlade-Chamberlain could come in. I'd maybe expect him to come in a bit more against West Ham maybe than Wolves. I don't know.
I mean, I think the fact that this second game, or the first game of the double, comes on Thursday, might it just be a little bit too soon for Bino to be straight back into the starting lineup? Might he play him in the FA Cup instead? Easier route back in.
Keita coming back from injury as well to consider. It's
maybe.
A risky pick, this.
It's risky, but I think there's minutes there for him, and if there's minutes there, I think there's a good chance that there could be some attacking returns. So
and with risk comes reward.
Absolutely.
Low differential. Yeah, not very many owned. And actually, he looked a bit annoyed to come off, didn't he, against Man United? A bit of a strop there, didn't he? So there you go. He
kind of
wants
like
to play.
That as well, a little bit of passion.
Like to see that, don't you like to see that? I'm going to go for another midfielder, but this time from West Ham. West Ham. So I'm going to go. Yeah, I know, shock.
Well, you have to go for one.
We've got to go for someone, right? Robert Snodgrass going to go for in the middle. Now, I noticed I'm not expecting West Ham to get many points against Liverpool. I think Liverpool will beat West Ham at the London Stadium. If West Ham are going to score against Liverpool at all, I think it's probably going to come from a set piece. You can maybe see, I don't know, Allaire getting on the end of something, and of course Snodgrass takes the set pieces. Put that Liverpool game to one side. I think the Leicester game has got the potential to maybe get a few more points for Snodgrass.
Seems a bit easier at the moment with Leicester's wobbling.
What is going on there at the minute? And I noticed that obviously without Wilfred and Ndidi, they don't look as defensively solid, no doubt about it. Now, we know how good Burnley can be from set pieces. But Burnley in general have been playing pretty badly, and they scored obviously from a set piece in the game week we've just seen, and went on to perform really, really well against Leicester, and always being a threat from set pieces. So if you've got the West Ham set piece taker in Robert Snodgrass against a pretty out of sorts Leicester, obviously not going to write them off. Leicester are still in the top 3, aren't they? I think maybe second or third. So they're not a bad side overnight, but I'm just saying they have looked a bit more vulnerable of late, particularly from set pieces. So I'm going to go for Robert Snodgrass. Also, 1 goal and 2 assists in his last 5 since he's come back from injury. So he's ticking over the odd FPL point as well. So don't overlook him. A bit of an out there pick, but you've got to go for someone from West Ham.
I mean, let's be honest.
Let's go for Snodgrass.
They're differential picks, so they're going to be a bit out there because they have to if you're going to go under 10%.
And who's your West Ham player?
So I'm going to go back to an old favourite of mine.
Go on.
Somebody that I like to actually own in my FPL team, but actually when West Ham are kind of consistently playing better.
I know where you're going to go. He was good at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, in Lanzini.
Yeah.
Now, I think Lanzini historically has always been a great FPL pick. Now, he does tend to go on little runs, so it doesn't tend to be consistent over the course of, a few weeks. It tends to be like he'll pop up and, there'll be a brilliant game week and then he'll get nothing for a couple and then there'll be some more returns. Now, he's been back and playing a part in the West Ham team for the last 5 game weeks, following 5 game weeks off with injury again, and this is the problem with injuries. This is the problem with Lanzini, is that he isn't. He is so unlucky with injury that he just gets lays off, for weeks at a time, which is frustrating. There's been 3 attacking returns this season, and given that he's had a couple of spells out with injury, that's not, it's not horrendous. It's not brilliant, but it's not awful. And I do think that without Felipe Anderson and those sorts of players in the team, somebody needs to stand up and be counted for West Ham. This double game week is really important to them. They have looked better under David Moyes, and I think there is potential there, not necessarily in that Liverpool game, as you said about Snodgrass, but in that Leicester game, there's definitely potential there to get at Leicester defensively right now. So Lanzini it is. Now, he's a huge differential, again, a bit like Oxlade-Chamberlain, 0.8% owned. He's going to cost you 6.2 million, exactly the same as Chamberlain. So he's a bit on the expensive side for a differential pick. But as far as West Ham go, I think he is one of the best players that West Ham have, and therefore one of the best options if you want to go for a West Ham player in the double game.
I think on his day he's really good, Lanzini. Yeah. My challenge I have with him is that he does have more than the odd off day as well, doesn't he? And I think against the 2 sides they've got to play, Liverpool and Leicester, I do see Moyes going for more industry in that midfield. I can see him putting a lot of faith in, obviously, Rice and Noble and players like that. I wonder whether Lanzini is sometimes a bit of a luxury player.
Maybe.
And I think against sides like Liverpool, when you've got to have that industry in the middle, you need all 3 of them tracking back and tracking Henderson and Wijnaldum and Fabinho.
And Chamberlain.
And Chamberlain, of course, when he plays, yes, of course. I just wonder whether that... Don't get me wrong, if he plays him against Liverpool, I'd be happy to see that, because Lanzini, I think, is a really nice going forward, but he does not track and he does not put the industry in and the work rate in. So
yeah, I mean,
I think I like him as a differential pick, but let's see.
I think with the differential though, you're not necessarily, and we've always said it about picking West Ham players for the double, you're not necessarily expecting them to do anything in that Liverpool game. So you're really picking them for the other part of the double. Yeah. On the hope that, with the 2 points that they pick up against Liverpool, that might bolster into something that's half decent.
Yeah. And if you look at his heat maps on the Fantasy Football Scout membership website, on the webpage, the heat maps look pretty good. He's getting advanced. He's one of those players, like I've just said, he likes to get forward, doesn't like to track back.
Yeah.
And I wonder whether Moyes will trust him for that. But if he plays him, yes, there's a chance of points, I think.
Go on then, pick your final one.
Okay, my final one. Gini Wijnaldum. 5.4 million in the game, 2.3%. Notice in the last few games, particularly against Manchester United in the game that we've just seen in the last game week, liked to break through the lines there. Liked to be the one to push forward.
Game week not to get some attacking returns.
Had one ruled out for VAR, an offside, and it was again a bit of a. It was more than an armpit, wasn't it? He was offside, no doubt about it. Despite me cheering and thank you VAR for giving it. I think actually the linesman might have flagged it. Don't even think we needed VAR for that one. And he was offside. It's a correct decision, but nevertheless, that for me showed that there was some attacking intent there to get forward. Now, depends again who he's going to go for in that midfield three. Now, away at Wolves, I don't think he will go for Ox. I think he will go for Wijnaldum. I think he'll start with Fabinho, and I think he'll go Henderson in there because you just have to have Jordan Henderson because of who he is. And I think because of that, Wijnaldum will be tasked with getting in and around Moutinho and just stopping that creativity and bursting through the lines. Now, it's very difficult for me to say that he's a great double game week pick because we haven't seen a lot of goals and assists from him, right? But as a differential pick, 2.3% in the game. Again, if you can't afford to go up to the Salahs and the Manes and the Firminos and even the Oxlade-Chamberlains, at 5.4, I do think he's going to get both games. And again, with 180 minutes under his belt and a double game week, you never know. He could pop up with a goal or an assist. Also, very, very good in the air. Likes to score with his head as well. So, given that I'm expecting Wolves in particular to be quite forward-thinking in terms of their wing play with the likes of Adama Traore and Doherty, I think that might leave some space in behind for Liverpool's fullbacks to whip balls into the likes of Wijnaldum. If he can be the advanced one of that three in the middle and take, make the most of the Trent and Robertson assists that are coming in from either side, he could be a nice pick. There's no doubt about it. So again, real differential stuff here, guys.
It's very hard.
5.4 million, if your budget can't stretch to anybody else, maybe have a little punt on Wijnaldum.
And I think this week, this theme, it would have been amiss not to talk about the double game week. And I think the way to go for differentials is nice because a lot of us are talking about, how do we create this team that we want without creating major surgery in our team, taking points hits, without taking out some of the single game weekers that have got really nice fixtures in 24. It's tough to do. So sometimes you're looking for a way into the Liverpool or maybe West Ham teams that's not going to cost you the earth, that is going to be a differential pick and that gives you that third Liverpool.
So remind us of your three.
So Alisson, Oxlade-Chamberlain and Lanzini.
Alisson, Ox and Lanzini. Okay, very good. And my three, Joe Gomez, Robert Snodgrass and Gini Wijnaldum.
I mean, who'd have thought?
There's some right picks in there, isn't there? If you're looking to move up your mini leagues, have a look at these guys. One thing's for sure, double game week 24, I'm really excited about it. It's going to be a real season swinger, I think. It could go either way. If you're thinking of triple captain in Firmino, as Sam is, or if you're thinking of triple captain Mane, like I am, goodness knows what's going to happen. So good luck in game week 24, guys. Whoever you choose, hopefully the differentials, you go for maybe an Ox or a Gini Wijnaldum or maybe a Snodgrass against Leicester. Good luck in game week 24. Leave us a like before you go. Hit subscribe to the Fantasy Football Scout channel and we'll see you next time for Sam vs. Lee.
Bye, guys.